Okay, so what key life experiences have formed who you are today?
One of the things I said, and it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about school. One thing that I did that I found incredibly helpful was, and it doesn't necessarily work for you, but I have an undergraduate degree that wasn't in architecture.
Oh,
I studied and I was just kind of testing a lot of different subjects. I did take classes in the School of Design where I went to undergrad at UC Berkeley. But I ultimately got a degree in economics and took several classes in the business school. And then after undergrad, I didn't go right into grad school. I stopped and I worked for about 3 years in San
okay,
Francisco in different marketing and advertising companies.
great. How did you become passionate and involved in the architectural practice?
I, you know, I mean, I'd say probably the drive really started more when I was on my own. I'd say that I should back it up. It started more in grad school, and I think part of the reason for that is, like, to be honest, my parents paid for undergrad, but they never said they were going to pay for grad school. So,
What are your core values and how are they reflected in your practice?
I've always been kind of a proponent of like, study hard, work hard, and then also play hard. And I think, working in several different firms before starting my own, a lot of times the culture of architectural firms is just basically like work, 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 super late. Obviously, school is like that too. And I didn't really, I kind of, uh, a little claim to fame is I never once spent an all-nighter in grad school, and I had very good grades. You value your free time as well.
Yeah, for sure. What's your design process?
It's funny. The reality of design, at least the niche that I operate in, I mean, you've been to Coronado, it sounds like our
Right.
properties are so small, and that's true with pretty much everywhere. I'll get the rare opportunity to work on like a 8-acre lot in Rancho Santa Fe or wherever it may be, but those seem to be, few and far between. So, the design is dictated by so many rules and regulations that it's almost like it's challenging sometimes to still find those means to bring creativity and unique ideas into the mix. First things first. So at least that's the way I approach projects.
Yeah, for sure. How do you collaborate with other individuals to realize your impactful work?
Every project has its team. It's an architect, it's a structural engineer, it's a contractor. Um, you know, More often than not, there's an interior designer on board, landscape architects, another common team player. You know, Thankfully, I've kind of been in this little niche long enough to where I have kind of my circle of trust and people that I've worked together with. And
Do you have a favorite reading or architect that has made a large influence on you?
Yeah, I love to read, but once you'll realize when you get later in life, if you have a family, that
Yeah,
not only is your time given to work, but then every spare minute is pretty much given over to your kids. So I have so little time to read. I know that sounds like an excuse, but you know what I do is I actually look at a lot of magazines. I don't have design. Yeah, this is a good one. So I always have magazines like
yeah,
right near me. They come constantly. So when I do have time, I'll flip through them. It's fun to just see what other projects, what other people are working on, their ideas, their creativity. I wish I lived closer to, we do have some schools nearby. I shouldn't say that. That sounds like an excuse too, but uh, it would be great to be more involved with a local school just to kind of, see that creativity and the ideas coming from all the students. I think that's helpful too.
for sure. What will have the biggest impact on the future of architecture?
I think the future of architectural practice, it's interesting when you look at so many other industries, you know, people's jobs are being marginalized by computers or software or technology. And I don't think that's ever going to happen in architecture. The amount of rules and regulations and different people that are looking at your projects, there's just really no way. It's every city is different in so many degrees that like having somebody navigate that is just almost like a pivotal part of the process. So thankfully, I don't think our industry is going anywhere, at least from the practice standpoint.
What advice would you give yourself if you were beginning in the profession today?
So it kind of feeds into a lot of what I've been talking about. One of the things that I found a lot of success in is kind of falling into a niche. And so in Coronado, as you know, it's kind of an isolated community. We're our own city. We have our own zoning ordinance. There's certainly like an expertise and a body of knowledge that I've learned and gained from just being here and doing the majority of my work here. So what that does is it gives me a competitive advantage of anybody trying to come into Coronado.